Hello, welcome aboard. I'm currently taking a cruise and I thought I would share with you some tips and tricks about cruising with a ventilator. The very first thing you're going to want to know is how long your ventilator batteries last. For me, my ventilator batteries last 6 to 8 hours. This is not a very long time. When you're on a cruise ship, you most likely will only be able to charge your ventilator batteries in your stateroom. This means when you go to dinner or breakfast, lunch, or go to a port of call, you will not be able to charge your ventilator batteries. You will need your ventilator batteries to last all day. For this reason, I brought along 2 ventilators. This is my travel ventilator. The only thing different about this is it's a regular ventilator, but it's inside this carrying case. This case is very nice. It has a strap. It has a pocket for some extra supplies, and it's just very, very convenient, but it's just like my regular ventilator. I also brought along my regular ventilator. There it is. There's my regular ventilator. So I have 2 ventilators. Not only do the batteries now last me about 12 hours up to 16 hours, I am set to go all day with my ventilator batteries, but also I have 2 ventilators, which is very conducive just in case, heaven forbid, something happens to one of the ventilators. I have never in 6 years had something happen to one of my ventilators that they stopped working, but here we are in the middle of your cruise, and that's the very last thing you want to happen. If your ventilator stops working, you're going to have to go down to your medical facility, and they're going to have to try to keep you alive by an ambu bag, or maybe they have a ventilator. I'm not sure what they have on board the ships, and you're going to have to go and disembark and get off the ship because you're going to need a ventilator. So I highly suggest bringing 2 ventilators if possible and making sure your batteries last as long as possible. The other thing you're going to need is you're going to need a regular circuit. This is just a regular circuit that you can use without a heated humidifier. For my circuit, you can see that I have this very large HME. This HME is a heat and moisture exchanger. I put this next to the exhalation valve and then connect my rest of my tubing onto there. The reason I put this here is it's very heavy and it pulls a lot of my tracheostomy tube. I've been having a lot of issues with mucus on this cruise. For this reason, I'm actually using 2 HMEs. I have this HME here, and then I put this, and there's another HME here, and I connect this. And now I use this whenever I'm not attached to my heated humidifier. I'm going to say right now, please, I hope if you have a tracheostomy tube and a ventilator, you have a heated humidifier. Heated humidifiers are extremely important to keep your airways moist, hydrated, and all that fun stuff. And there's my heated humidifier. And remember, when using a heated humidifier, you're either going to need distilled or sterile water. You can use either in your heated humidifier. Before boarding the ship, about a month before, you're going to want to contact the cruise line and tell them about your special needs. One of the things the cruise line can provide is distilled water for the entire length of your trip. This is the jug of sterile water the cruise ship has provided me. Or I'm sorry, it's distilled water. They provide me distilled water, and I can get as much distilled water as I want. Probably tonight this is going to be the last of this bottle, and then I can request from our cabin steward another bottle of distilled water. You just have to let the cruise line know ahead of time, and this is simple by going onto the company's website. There's usually a special needs form, and you put on there that you need distilled water. For Celebrity, the way you do that is it actually says, do you have a CPAP? And you check yes, and then it says, we will provide you with distilled water and an extension cord. So that's what I did. I avoided the hassle of telling them I had a ventilator and then saying, by the way, I need distilled water. If you just checked you had a CPAP machine, they automatically put that into their system that you need distilled water. So that's what I did, and it's worked out beautifully. When going on a cruise, you're going to want to plan to bring some extra supplies with you. These are some of the items I bring with me. This is an extra heated wire circuit. I put a brand new heated wire circuit on my ventilator before leaving home. However, I brought along another heated wire circuit just in case my current one fails. This is a passive circuit. This is the circuit I use without my heated wire circuit. So I brought along a brand new one just in case my current passive circuit fails. I brought along a bottle of distilled water. This I got from the hospital and originally had sterile water in, but I've used the sterile water and I love this container because it has a cap that twists on and gets real tight. And so I filled this up with distilled water before leaving. You're going to want distilled water to use before and after your cruise. So I've already used some of the water before the cruise and I'll probably again use it after the cruise. I brought along another water chamber for my heated humidifier. I put a brand new water chamber on my heated humidifier before leaving, but again, I want another one just in case the current one fails. I also have another brand new tracheostomy tube. My current tracheostomy tube I recently changed out, so it's a pretty fresh tracheostomy tube, but I brought along another tracheostomy tube as a spare. In addition, I have an old silicone tracheostomy tube. Silicone tracheostomy tubes can be sterilized and reused. I sterilized this before leaving home, and this is another tracheostomy tube just in case something happens to this one and the other one. I have another tracheostomy tube I can use. Also, if this one gets dirty for some reason, I can sterilize and reuse it. I brought along 7 inner cannula. Normally, I do not use inner cannulas. However, I was concerned with being away from home that my nebulizer might fail while on the cruise. If my nebulizer fails, I have no way to clean out my tracheostomy tube. So I brought along 7 inner cannulas. If my nebulizer fails, I'll start wearing an inner cannula, and then I'll pull those out every day to change out and to clear out my tracheostomy tube. But so far, I have not needed the inner cannulas because my nebulizer continues to function. Also, I bring along a bag of miscellaneous things. I have a number of these heat and moisture exchangers. I brought along one heat and moisture exchanger for every day of the cruise. I brought along 7 of these air filters. Being on the cruise, the air quality is not always the best, especially being outside a lot. So I brought along an extra couple air filters that I can change out throughout the cruise. I brought along another trach tube tie or trach tube holder. This I can use if this one gets dirty or for whatever reason. This is another connector that I have right here. This is another OmniFlex connector which I have right here. And then again, just a bunch of more heat and moisture exchangers. And then I also have extra vials of saline to use for my nebulizer. And then I have medicine that I use in case my airways become spasm. Like I have albuterol with me and some other medicine that I need just in case. And then I also have some medicine in case I get sick. I have along some antibiotics just in case I might need them. And just a few other odds and ends such as gauze and tape, scissors, gloves, just any other first aid items that you might need, I brought along with them. The other thing you're going to need is you're going to need some saline bullets because, like I said, mucus has been a huge issue. So you're going to need saline bullets to help loosen the mucus. And I am putting all my time and effort into my nebulizer. My nebulizer I'm running in the morning and also in the evening. And I'm putting one of these saline bullets in the morning and one of these saline bullets in the evening into my nebulizer to help break up all the mucus. And I've already had 2 blocked tracheostomy tubes, which is very, very rare for me. Usually my tracheostomy tube does not block or clog with mucus, but so far it has, and it's been a constant struggle. And I believe that's simply because I'm not running my heated humidifier during the day because I'm not usually in the room. We've been doing ports of call, and even when we just go out for lunch or anything, I don't have an electrical outlet, so I have to rely simply on the HME, and that's not working very well. So please keep your airways hydrated. Things you can do to keep your airways moist include running your heated humidifier, running saline through a nebulizer, and also wearing a heat and moisture exchanger whenever you're not attached to your heated humidifier. One thing to keep in mind is staterooms often only have 2 outlets. They have an outlet for the international plugs and 1 outlet for the United States plugs. This means you can only plug in 2 things at one time. If you have a heated humidifier and a ventilator, these items will often need to be plugged in to operate. Your heated humidifier does not have a battery, and your ventilator batteries will often be dead after being out all day. There is an issue because if you have a nebulizer, you'll also need a power outlet for your nebulizer. And if you have any other devices, such as a cell phone, computer, or such as me, I have a scooter which needs its battery charged, you're going to need another outlet. To mitigate this, you can get a power strip. The power strip must be approved by the cruise line. So remember, when purchasing a power strip, please consult with your cruise line to understand what they do and do not allow. This is the power strip we often use, and it has worked wonderfully. It has a C port, 3 USB ports, and 3 additional power outlets. This power strip has been a lifesaver. We are no longer fighting over outlets. Everybody has enough outlets for all their electronic devices. So remember, if you go on a cruise, please look into getting a power strip. Lastly, you're also going to want to bring along a ventilator stand. Here's my ventilator stand. This is really important because when on a cruise, you're going to be very limited on space. You're not going to have a lot of room to put your ventilator on the bedside and also your heated humidifier. You're just not going to have space for that. Also, like we are having today, we're having quite rough seas. It's going to be very easy for your ventilator and heated humidifier to fall off, especially during the night, and crash to the floor. I found having this ventilator cart has been a lifesaver. It saves on space. It also ensures that everything's upright and I can lock the wheels. And right now, actually, there's not a lot of space in our cabin. So this is wedged between the bed and the wall, and it really can't move very much. But the ship can move, so make sure you bring along a ventilator cart. If you're worried about going on the airlines and traveling with a lot of medical equipment, don't worry. I was worried about that also, and I had a fabulous experience. I traveled with 2 ventilators, my ventilator cart, a carry-on bag, which had my nebulizer, my heated humidifier, plus a personal carry-on bag, and the airlines had absolutely no problems with me traveling with so much equipment. They were actually happy, which surprised me. When they saw I had 2 ventilators, they were, "Oh, wonderful! We're so happy. You have a lot of battery. We don't have to worry about if your machine malfunctions." So both legs of my flight, the crew was extremely happy I had 2 ventilators, and I thought they would have an issue because I have so much luggage, but they didn't. They were very happy and joyous that I had so much medical equipment because that meant something happens during the flight, I am covered. They don't have to worry about emergency landing. So if you're worried about that, don't worry. Most of the airlines seem to be okay with you traveling with a lot of medical equipment if they know it's life-sustaining and it's going to prevent them from making an emergency landing. So those are some tips and tricks about cruising with a ventilator. Please remember to like and subscribe down below. I hope you have a great day and a wonderful week. Bye-bye. If you'd like to see more fun and adventures about traveling with a ventilator, or if you'd like to see my travel journey, please see the video playlist, Cruising with TPN and Event. Oh, we are in the midst of some really rough seas, and I'm getting really seasick. And I'm like really dizzy. And I'm just preparing you, if you get on some rough seas, make sure you eat a green apple. Oh, guys, I don't feel well. We're having some really rough seas and I'm getting really nauseous. And I'm about ready to fall over because we keep hitting waves. Okay, thanks so much for joining me. And if you get motion sickness, don't take a cruise. Whoa. Oh, it's been a rough day, rough day. Okay, bye. Oh, the joys of filming YouTube in a cabin with sharing with my mom. I am trying to do my YouTube and she's giving me video suggestions. You should say the power strip has been a lifesaver, not a power strip has been wonderful. And of course, I had a wonderful take, and the cabin steward goes, "Hi, I got more distilled water." Oh! So remember, if you have a YouTube channel and plan on going on a cruise, get your own private suite. You'll never be bothered in your own private suite. Thanks so much. Bye. I also bring along another you're looking at me.
Oh, sorry. I was just curious what you were all bringing.
I'm trying to shoot my YouTube video, and my mom keeps going, I want to know what she brought with her.
I gotta go potty.
I can't film my videos, people. This is really hard. Okay, bye. I'm gonna do another take. See you later.